This is Vibe Talks, exclusively on Vibe 105.
Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for Vibe 105 with a Vibe Talks segment, and I'm happy to be joined by my guest today who's going to be breaking down his upcoming fight at Bellator RIZIN 2, which is scheduled to take place later this month. He is a Bellator Welterweight contender. He is Lorenz the Monsoon Larkin. How you doing, Lorenz?
How's it going, man? I'm doing good.
And Lorenz, this is an exciting event coming up, Bellator RIZIN, back in Japan over there. I saw that you competed in Japan in the past. What was that experience like for you?
It was good, man. It was like, for me, it was like a life-changing type thing because, I fought at Madison Square Garden, and that was like my Madison Square Garden, as far as like with MMA. So that was like one of the big highlights of my career, fighting in Japan and then fighting at the Saitama. So it was like, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's an iconic venue too. And I know some fighters have different experiences because the crowd there, some of them say that it's a little bit more quiet. They clap all together at some points of the fight, and the American crowd, maybe they're a little bit more into it, like cheering on. Like, what was your experience competing there? Did you feel something similar?
Yeah, it's the same thing, you know what I mean? But I just look at it like, I've never been able to hear my corner better in my life. I was just like, this is great. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't bother me at all. I mean, it's not like it's like fighters have like thousands of people when they're in the gym sparring. You know what I mean? So, and I don't get me wrong. Like, I love like a crowd screaming and all that, but then you see some fights where a guy might have like tripped, from doing something when the other guy was punching, and then the punch didn't land, but everybody's like, oh, and that type affects judging, you know what I mean? Especially these types of judging now, you know what I mean? So the crowds can be good and the crowds can be bad too. So I like both styles. It doesn't matter to me.
And you mentioned judging there, and I have to bring this up because judging has been a controversial issue as of late. Some of the fights, like whether it's Bellator, UFC, there's an ongoing debate on whether like open scoring would be something that fighters would prefer. Like, would you prefer open scoring, or do you like the way it is right now?
I'm not that familiar. Is open scoring like live scoring?
Yeah, so you would have an idea of, let's say you're going in the final round. It wouldn't be like your coaches maybe having an instinct.
No, I wouldn't prefer that way because I mean, me personally, I don't know. I think when you start to add in too many of those type of features, it's just like you're not trying to fight anymore. You know what I mean? You're paying attention to scorecards, so I wouldn't prefer that way. But I just feel like a lot of like, I don't believe that boxing refs should be MMA refs. I mean, not MMA refs, sorry, but judges. Like, I think if you're a boxing judge, be a boxing judge. If you're an MMA judge, be an MMA judge, because they're both different. And if you score a certain way in boxing, that doesn't translate the same as MMA. And a lot of these guys, like, I feel like they should, I don't know, man. I don't feel like there's not that much, like, they don't regulate judges like that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like either there should be like refs that have reffed X amount of times that should be judges. You know what I mean? Because they've been in the fight. They know what they're looking for. They understand a control. They understand when a guy's pressuring. They understand when a guy's not in danger. And they understand when a guy's just throwing bullshit punches, you know what I mean? Just to look like he's doing something. But a lot of these other judges, I don't know, man. I don't even know who these judges are, but I would imagine they're not young. They're old, and they've read about, when they got into MMA judging, they've read about this, like what this is and what that is. They never really they probably couldn't even name 10 submissions. I guarantee you.
And on that note, like this fight now coming up, you're taking on Andrey Koreshkov. It's a rematch of your 2019 bout. You got the split decision there. What factored in your decision to accepting a rematch with him? Because like based where you are, you're on a roll. Like I'm sure you're in the title picture there. Like were you maybe promised a title shot if you get past Koreshkov?
No, not at all. Not in the slightest bit. But my thing is just keeping me busy, man. If that's the name that they're giving me, it's just like, if that's the only way to keep me busy, then whatever. Give me the fight. And that's just how I've been looking at things now. It's just, if me saying no to that is the potential of me getting skipped over and then having to wait longer for a fight, no. Just give me that guy. We'll fight him, and I'll add him to the list, and then from there I'll ask for, you know, what's the next fight date projection, you know.
And you're like a fighter and welterweight, middleweight. I think you're in a great position in both. Like going back to welterweight now to take on Koreshkov, are you dialed in now? Like you're devoted your time to go for that welterweight title, or if the opportunity presented yourself based on the landscape at the middleweight division, would you be in favor of also going back there and maybe going for a title?
You know, I don't know, man. I'm content with welterweight. You know, I like welterweight, but you know, my thing is I'm just at the point in my career, man. Is if it's exciting and it makes sense to both sides, you know, on paper and, you know, in contract, I'm up for it. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. There are some 85ers that I don't even know, because even when I fought Cavallo, man, I was like, when we fought and we weighed in, I was like, oh, he's not big. But then the next day, you know, when we stepped in the cage, I was like, he's big. You know what I mean? So my whole thing is, man, I love fighting, man, and I love testing myself. So, you know, yes, I'm devoted to welterweight, but you know, I'm more than positive if Scott hit me up and was like, hey, what do you think about this fight? You know what I mean? And if it was something I was like, dude, fans would love that fight, then, you know, I would do it.
And also coming off your knockout win there, the turnaround here, is this like an ideal time frame? Like you fought in February and now July, or would you have preferred to go back sooner?
No, this is fine. This is fine as long as, you know, like we're looking towards the end of the year for the next one. You know what I mean? Now, if it just goes this, and then just white noise all the way down into next year, like, then this is bullshit. You know, it's like, if I get 2 fights this year, it's just like, what the am I doing? Like, what are we doing here? I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting their time. You know what I mean? It's just, if I don't get 3 fights, it literally makes no sense if that's what happens, you know. But if I fight this time and I fight again next, you know, at the end of the year, then yeah, this is like perfect setup, you know.
I respect that too. You want to be active, and you're on your way to being that this year. And just curious, as a fighter, like this is your second rematch. Obviously, this one was a little bit further along, like 4 years ago, but you fought Berkhamov twice, back to back, and prepared for that. Now Koreshkov. Is it difficult, or do you find it a little bit easier preparing for a fight where you fought your opponent before?
With the Berkhamov one, that wasn't bad, because it was like, what the you bring different than, you know, and it was 5 months or however long it was. I was like, there's nothing that you're gonna miraculously change. You know, it's impossible. But with this fight being what it was at 4 years, yeah, you know, things can change. Fighters can develop different things and different techniques, and you know, so yeah, this is more of a dangerous rematch for me than I say with, you know, with Berkhamov.
And just transition a little bit, like when you're not fighting and in camp and preparing for a fight, what are some of your other hobbies? Like, is there another sport you follow regularly just to wind down from fighting?
No, I don't really follow sports, man. Tell you the truth, you know. No, I don't follow sports other than just watching movies, off-roading, shooting, that type of shit. That's yeah, yeah. Most of the things doing shit that can really get me hurt outside of fighting. Yeah.
You mentioned movies. There's one jump to mind that you saw recently that you really enjoyed.
I watched Guardians. I watched Guardians. What's the other movie I watched? Damn, dude, I just watched shit. I don't know, but I watched like between movies, man, and reality TV shit. I'm. If I gave you the list of the shit I watch, you'd be like, "Fuck, this guy watches this shit." Like I just finished the season of Below Deck Selling Yacht. I watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't like The Real Housewives of OC. They're stupid. I watch I watch all different types of shit, man.
That's great. And before we wrap up here and let you go, how can our listeners and viewers here follow you on social media and stay up to date with everything you're doing?
Yes. Check out my Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter's all the same. DA_Monsoon. That is not my nickname. It was just somebody took when I created Instagram. So I had to put the. So my nickname, my true nickname is The Monsoon, THE Monsoon. But everything else is DA, The Monsoon, The_Monsoon.
I recommend that follow. And Lorenz, really appreciate you sharing your time and coming on here. And I wish you all the best of luck when you take on Andrey Koreshkov on July 30th. Thanks a lot.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Vibe Talks exclusively on Vibe 105.